And I'll just make a bit of a video, shows what's been going on. Actually, I'm waiting on parts. Guts of this thing. Try and edit a bit of a video somehow so it sort of looks okay. And I've got another cap and a rotor button. I found the rotor button was a bit small, but I'm not sure if don't think it's that. I still feel it's something to do with this carby. The fourth carby's not getting the right amount of fuel pressure, I think. And plus this was all full of silicon. You'll probably see it in the video if you watch that much of it. Anyway, that's all. I just slap a video, shows what's going on. It'll probably be another couple of weeks before I get these parts. So, it'll be right, I've got plenty to do. Anyway, we'll see how the video goes. Today, I want to fit this thing to the fuel line. That's our regulator, pressure regulator. I'm just going to go down in there. So I'm going to pull this air box off. You know, it's always a bit messy. You always spill a bit of fuel because I'm cutting the fuel line. It's got fuel in it, so I'm going to have to be quick. Yeah, to pull that generator out, you've got to pull the radiator out because you're not going to get the fan out of there. Doesn't look like it anyway. So, yeah, anyway, I've pulled that out. The thing's not working. I should have tested it first. I don't know why I didn't actually. But first I'm going to do is actually undo it here. That's where the fuel comes in. So that little line there feeds all four carbies. So you've got to have the right pressure to get the fuel down to here. These two carbies are working. When I had it on gravity, these three were working. Now only these two are working. So I've got to get that pressure right. I might just, I don't know whether to just, I'll figure out if I'm going to pull that out right now or not. Just get this regulator thing on. Fuel goes in there, it comes out there. So I've put a little arrow there so I don't make a mistake. I've taken that off there, and it seems like the fuel's drained down, so I'll cut it here somewhere. Put that on. I might even put it on that bit first. We'll see if anything leaks out of it. And just get this done. And I've also glued a bit of rubber to the bottom of it, just in case it bangs onto the engine occasionally. Well, there's our pressure regulator. That's a good spot for it. It doesn't hit the engine. I'm going to set it on 3. It's supposed to be 2.8, but realistically, it goes up in halves. I can put it on 2.5, or I could put it in the middle, but it won't click there. So I'm just going to try it on 3. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to pull this inspection cover off and see if I can see anything in here that looks dodgy. I'm sure I pulled that off. I'll just have another look. But I can't take that off without pulling the radiator out. So I'll have a look in here, see what happens, but I'll probably just drain the radiator and I'll pull it off tomorrow. Got that thing on down there. Note to self, never pull the brushes out of these things when they're in the car. It took me ages to get that back together, and I mean about 2 hours. One of the springs come out. I was only just able to get it back in. Just invented a method to get it in. Anyway, I've redone these. I've fixed this wiring up a bit so it's neater. I'm just going to leave it like that until I give it a kick in the guts. There's a good possibility, I might even tomorrow I'll put a heat shrink there. There's a good possibility that will start working once it's been run for a bit, because I can't see anything wrong with it. Looking through there anyway, and I did have a bit of a look at it, but the brushes are okay. They're a bit worn down, but they're still okay. And where it contacts in there, the armature thing, it's clean. So I've given the brushes a sand, and they did have a little bit of a film sort of, sitting for ages on it. So it may start working. Once it just runs for a bit, it could start working. Like all the wiring, everything's fine. Anyway, I've done enough for today. Tomorrow I'll fire this thing over and see what's going on. I'm hoping that'll fix it. If not, I've got to figure around with something else. Anyway, just been trying to kick it over. It's got it going, but it started running back on 3 cylinders. So it was definitely only running on 2 before without that regulator. Now the fuel pump stopped working. That stupid fuel pump stopped working. Bloody hell. That lasted a long time. Anyway, I better look into what's going on. I'm starting to feel, I'm just starting to feel something going on with these carbies. I'll just look into it. Rig here, the fuel pump's still working. I can get that, do that with one hand. See that? Oh, hang on. Right, the fuel pump's working. The stupid wire that's feeding it's died. So we'll see what's going on. I don't know, it's just getting a bit annoying, this car. Pretty annoying. It started running on 3 cylinders. It's just blowing, it's not burning that first cylinder. And it seems like it's got spark. I don't know. Is something wrong with that carby or what? Shouldn't be. I went through it. Anyway, I'll get this line, I'll get some power to this stupid pump first and then we can go forward. I hope. Pump didn't die. I was thinking, man, they don't last long. Got a major voltage drop through the whole vehicle. The headlights are dull again. I'm only getting half of what it should be. That's why that pump's not working. The only thing I'm looking at's that, so far, is that thing had it. Bloody annoying. Anyway, I'm going to have to get proper power down to there. I think, I've got a feeling that's why that original pump didn't work properly. It just wasn't getting the right amount of power, but I did test it with a battery on the ground, not just through this system. I tested it with a straight 12-volt battery, and it still wasn't pumping right. But, to me, this thing here is not working properly. You can't be much else. Like this wire here, that goes down the fuel pump. That's that black and yellow wire. This red and white wire, that goes all over the place actually. But it goes over to the generator. And it comes down here too. Down here, one of these wires. I think, I'll double check that. And that wire there's an earth. There's fuses here, they're all fine. I don't think there's any under the dash, from memory. Anyway, I'm glad that pump didn't die. That would have really annoyed me and only lasted for bloody a minute. It was running a bit better, but it's still not firing on that front cylinder. I'm not sure. I don't think it's the carby, it's getting fuel. Mate Michael reckons that I possibly should have changed the bearing in the distributor. They can wobble a bit. Don't know. He's also got a cap. I may grab one off him and see if I can test that. I think he's got one of them things too. I might be able to just borrow it. I'll give him a call. There's not much else I can do at the moment because until I know that's actually right, there's no point in me pulling stuff apart. Anyway, see what's going on. Somewhere else this wire, because I just disconnected that. That wire feeds the pump. Turn the ignition on, comes on. That pump works. To me, it's just pointing at this thing. I've just got a feeling this thing's just playing up. Pretty annoying. So anyway, I'll have a talk to me mate, see what he thinks. Pretty sure that's cactus, because I just undo that, the pump works. Hook it back up, you can hear it slightly flickering. It's actually not working, it's only just barely working. It's only getting 6 volts. So, this thing here. May as well, we've changed everything else. I'll see if I can borrow one. Anyway, so here's a bit of an update, what's going on. I've got another cap. I've got this one off Michael. It's 100 times better than the one I've got. I've given it a bit of a clean, but I'll clean it more. But our one's chunked out. So the only thing that can do that is if the rotor button's wobbling, so the internals in the dizzy's wobbling, and it needs 2 bearings put in it. So that's coming off, new bearings. What I actually did yesterday when I got back from Michael's, we checked his bloody regulator, and it's similar. I think his one mightn't be working either. I've got an old regulator here off my son's Corolla. I'm going to try and find that and test that, see if it does the same thing. But what I actually did yesterday, that blue and black and white wire, it goes to the key, it goes to here, it goes to here, and it goes down to the fuel pump. I replaced that entire wire all the way through to the key. I pulled the terminals out of the plugs from the key to the terminal, which is about 8 inches long, replaced that. Pulled the terminal out of the plug, plugs into that. New wire all the way, piggybacked it over to there, poked it through, and then I've hidden it into the loom here. So it's got a brand new wire, and that old wire's gone. It was actually had it. It was more burnt out than I thought. I actually burnt it out. Like, there's a mistake in the wiring guide. It says this wire here is that wire, and it's not. When I put that on there, it just melted it. So whatever, that was my fault. And another thing I'm going to have to do is rip the generator out, because the diodes in it are gone. I'm glad I didn't have to pull that dash out. I thought I was going to have to pull the dash out and everything to do that wire, which is a major job. I would have had to pull the steering column, dash out, bloody undo every single thing just to replace that one wire. But right now I'm going to go over this thing. I want to check, next wire I want to check is this red and white wire, because that also goes all over the place. It goes to the key, it goes down to the generator, it goes down here to the starter, and it goes all over the place. But I did get a copy of, Michael's got an original copy of the wiring loom, and it's got the bit that's missing. All this bit here is missing off the one on the internet. So now I can see where everything goes. So I'll be doing that, but I'm just going to go over this thing. First I'm going to look for that old regulator and test that, see if it does the same as this. Because realistically, I don't reckon we're getting continuity from the earth to these two powers. To me, that shouldn't happen. Or how can that happen? It shouldn't happen. So I'm going to test this, if I can find it, this other one, see if it does it. Because Michael's is doing the same. We're not sure if they're good or bad. But I'm feeling they're both bad. I'll drop the coolant out of it. The radiator's got to come out so I can get that generator out and replace the diodes in it. And it's like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. I was only getting 6 volts down here to the fuel pump wire. Now I'm getting 11.3. I'm still not getting the full power, but it's that new wire's made a big difference. I still think there's something's wrong here or somewhere else. So I've got to find it. I'm going to take this apart for the 4th time. I want to make sure what's going on down here. I've got a feeling something's not quite right here. I'm just going to, yeah, whatever. I've got a feeling that the red and white wire is supposed to hook up here, and the white, looks like the white wire's there. I'm just going to check that. I want to see where that red and white wire's going. But I'm not sure what feeds that white wire. I can't see much on the wiring diagram. Now that I've got this diagram here, it's always been missing. This wire here, I don't know where it's supposed to go. But this wire here is the white and red wire. That's the big thick white wire. That goes over the amp meter into the key. But for some reason, it's going down here to the starter. That wire there should be the white and red wire, which goes to here. So I've got to change that for starters. But I just don't understand why this thick white wire is running through this line, this here. Like, it's, according to the wiring diagram, that just goes over to the amp meter and to the key. And I don't understand why it is so thick. And where does it get its power? I feel it should hook up to something. Like, this red and white wire goes over to the key as well, but why is that so thick, that wire? Anyway, I'm going to pull this back apart. This will be like at least the 4th time I've pulled that apart. Might have been the 5th, I can't remember. I want to double check where a few things are going. I wish I still had Michael's wiring diagram here now. Anyway. Pull this back apart. There is no white wire coming down here. Good. That's what I wanted. that red and white wire is that wire, okay? You just can't see the red on it. There's a bit there. Good. Well, that's the red and white wire. Problem is, it's going to the wrong thing here. That's all it is. I put it the way it was. That's how I had it marked. So that red and white wire goes there on this second fuse, not that first one. It's so handy having the full wiring diagram. Well, I'll flip that, and that could be all's wrong with it. That's what I'm hoping anyway. It definitely doesn't go there, it goes there. You can see it in the diagram. The thing broke off that's the red and white wire. You can see it here, comes up here. That's the red and white wire there, okay? It is going into the right thing, but for some reason, this red and white wire turns into that thick white one. Because there's continuity here on that thick white wire and that. So I've got to find where that's happening. Somewhere along the line, something's been hooked up wrong. And that's why we've got a problem. It's definitely a problem. I've got to find out where this wire turns into that white wire. For starters. I haven't seen anything bad here, like, except for the mess I've made. But this thick red and white wire, right? That goes up to here. That's that wire, that thick thing. I don't know why it hasn't got a red stripe on it there, but this one here's got a red stripe. Like this thick wire is that wire there. That's the same wire. Somewhere along the line it changes colour. I was hoping to find it, but I suppose I can dig a bit further. I'm getting to the stage where I'm going to have to pull the bloody dash out and the wiring loop. That's a fucking big job. You know, I've got to take the steering column back out, everything. I really don't want to do that at this stage. I'm just going to have another look up under here. It's a bit hard to get in there, but see what happens. Like, there's mistakes on this wiring diagram. I know that. There is mistakes. I'm thinking that's around the wrong way. Who knows? It's just bloody annoying. I've got to say one thing. This wiring diagram's the worst wiring diagram I've ever seen in my life. There's so much wrong with it, it's just not even funny. Like, nothing matches. Hardly anything matches. Like, and critical stuff. And like, this bit's missing. I've got it in the phone, but I'm going to go up and print it all on one thing. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This wire here, it's that red and white wire there, right? It's just faded the red off it. That's supposed to go from there, which goes to the contact for the starter. It's supposed to come up here, and it's supposed to go into, is it that one? It was that one or that one? I can't remember off the top of my head. I have to re-look at the phone. Actually, it's supposed to go into that. Yeah, it's supposed to go into that one, but it's actually going into that one. And then that's supposed to, I've got to get this in front of me. It's hard to explain it. It's just ridiculous. It's so bad. It's just wrong. Like, yeah. They may as well not even have a wiring diagram. It's just bloody ridiculous. Anyway, I've had enough for today. Okay, what is today? Today's Wednesday. I didn't work yesterday. I was doing more tree work. I'd work, but just not on this, in the RV. What I'm going to be doing today, the generator's got to come out. There's no two ways about it. I rechecked all this wiring. I went and borrowed I got the wiring loom back off Michael and just went over every single thing. And this, the wiring is fixed now. There's no two ways about it. The wiring's fine. So I've got to fix that generator. So that's coming out. I'm going to have to drop the coolant out of the radiator, get that out without stuffing anything up, pull that thing out and get it fixed. That's that. I'm also going to pull the Dizzy out and double check everything's right for that. And go over that. I got another radiator. I got another distributor cap off Michael, but when I picked this up at his place, or it might have been when I got it home, I went like that. That screw fell out. Unfortunately, in there is stripped, and so is the screw. And that's actually a bigger screw than the one I've got on ours. So, I don't know, I'll speak to him about it. Like, I can probably fix it. But no, realistically, that's not mine at the moment. So I don't want to just fix it until we talk about that. So anyway, I'm not 100% sure if that's what's wrong with it. It could be the carby. Like, I've said it before, the only thing I haven't replaced is this gasket in here. If there's an air leak in that, that can stop that carby working. I've read it somewhere. And I think to take that apart, I'm not sure if I can do that while it's on the car. Anyway, probably can. Anyway, let's get this thing drained. The way you drain the coolant out of these things, you undo this screw here and there's a little spillway. It's sort of like a funnel. And let it drip into that and then it'll drip into that. It's fairly handy, I suppose. Anyway, I'll get that draining. Good sign. The coolant that come out of this engine's spotless, except for one or two little specks that probably fell off the thing, went the chassis or something. Absolutely spotless. That's what you want. You don't want, there could be oil coming in that, then you got problems. Radiator out, wasn't too much hassle. Got to take the battery out. I had to move the water pump, a fuel pump, because of the bracket I made. It wouldn't come back far enough. You probably have to do that anyway with the original pump. Anyway, that's done. This will be coming off. Then that's coming out. I want to see why it doesn't work. Apparently the diodes blow in them and it's not working. Like I said, I've tested every single wire in this car. I've retested it and tested it, double checked it with the diagram, and I'm not real sure about that diagram. A lot of mistakes in it. Anyway, I'll get this off next, then I'll undo this stuff and then pull that out. Just sit here now. But I like to put a bit of cardboard there when I pull radiators out, just in case you bump it, especially when they cost $1,000. Generator out, just cleaned up these wires a little bit better, a bit of heat shrink and stuff. They're ready to go. I'm probably going to pull this bit here off. I've said it before, the only thing I haven't changed is this gasket. I'm thinking of changing that, and I just want to have another look behind here. That's what feeds the fuel there. So the last thing to get the fuel is this. I don't know if it's over fueling or what's going on, but I'm just going to pull this off and check it. I'll probably get this gasket happening. I want to put that on. So I don't know when that's going to turn up. It'll probably take a couple of weeks. Anyway, that's that done. I've got this thing here sitting on the bench. Now I've got to get this working. So I'm going to strip this off, pull that pulley off. I'll spin it with a drill and see what's happening. The diodes are blown in it. This is the cap I got off Michael. It's a lot better, but unfortunately that screw's stripped that goes in there. Or it's a bit of both. The thread's actually stripped in the cap as well. So I'm going to show that to him. He does have other ones, but this cap, that's our cap there. I put some black on the bottom there. That's his one. You can see how worn down that side is there compared to this side. This side's not as bad, but that side there is definitely worn down. Now that could possibly cause something. So, that looks like a better rotor cap button to me. Anyway, I'll just, I want to take this stuff up and show it to Michael. He knows, like I said, he knows a lot about these cars. He's had them all his life. It's very handy. He doesn't live far away. But that's actually a bit longer. I've measured it as well. The overall's longer. It's got a different number. This one's a 10, that's a 12. I don't know if that makes a difference. But this side here is worn down. You can see that. Now that could cause it to not run on one cylinder, I don't know. I don't want to take any of this stuff off if I don't have to. Like that's actually not really wobbling. Like it moves in and out a little bit, but I think they all do that. But it's not wobbling side to side. I don't want to take that off because it's got a gasket there. I don't want to stuff the gasket up. And this thing over here, that, now I'm thinking of taking that off, but I really don't want to take stuff off if I don't have to. But someone's been playing with that with silicone, so I think it's best to pull that apart and have a look at it. I decided to take this back off and pull that apart. It's never been pulled apart while we've owned it. Well, Matt's owned it, so it's probably worth having a look in there. It did seem to be getting fuel, but I did read somewhere if there's an air leak here, that can stop it from firing. So it's probably worth checking out. Plus I'll double check all these O-rings are in the correct position and see if nothing's moved. Just double check everything. Like, I don't know where I'm going to get a generator from at this stage. I did find a place that sells diodes and that, but who wants to fix that? Like $240 US for the diodes plus shipping, and just doesn't seem like a good deal to me. I got this off. It's dried out a little bit, but that was sort of wet around there. I made those gaskets. They may not be thick enough. I'll buy the gaskets. We'll get them gaskets from Germany. It's always a good idea when you're doing, if you're working on one of these, put something here, because there's a couple of O-rings. One did fall. It didn't fall and I lifted it off. When I was pulling them out, it dropped. So it's good to have that little safety thing there to catch shit. But I'm looking at this. It looks pretty dry all through here. That's 4, 3, 2, 1. That's got to be sucking air. That's, I'm hoping, why it won't run. So I'm about to strip this and see that. Have a look at this bloody gasket, but we'll be buying that gasket. I'm not making it. I decided I want to buy it. And it might take a couple of weeks to get here, but who cares? I think this could be what's wrong with it, because you know, like I've seen some pretty bad distributor caps in my day, and the things still run. So we'll see. Yeah, but I definitely want that fixed anyway. Don't know who worked on this car, but whoever's done it, every single thing they've done's been shit. Anyway, I got this apart, but that's raised there. That's raised. I don't even know why that's got silicone there. Why would you put silicone there? Or how did it even get there? And that's pushed this part of the gasket down. That's where the fuel flows, in there. Somewhere. This is just strange. That's very strange. But the fuel comes in here, into there. Right, flows in through that, under that gasket, comes along, it goes into each carburetor through here. But look at that. That's just all mixing with the fuel. Huh. Anyway, I'm glad I pulled that apart. I hope it hasn't got any shit gone into the carbies. Now I can drop the float bowls and check that. See if there's any of this shit in there. This all needs cleaning and putting together properly. Like, what the hell? Anyway, I'm glad I pulled this apart. Anyway, I got a new camera mount, see how it goes. This stuff here, look, man, why is that shit there? Why would you put that crap in there, or how did it even get there? That's not supposed to be there. Neither's that. That shit can't be there. Things happen for a reason, I reckon. That's why that's not supposed to be there. clean all this shit off. This is supposed to be clean. It's got to be clean. It's bloody ridiculous. Anyway, it's not really riveting television anyway. I'll clean this shit off. Take that off, see what it looks like. Let's see if I can get that off now. Where'd that other thing go? This thing. Try and keep that in one piece. I did read somewhere if these things suck air, it can stop it running. The cylinder can stop the cylinder firing. Why the hell is it like that? This is all where the fuel goes. Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, I'll clean this up and see what happens. I've got all this stuff pretty clean. I'll give it another wash, but I'm not sure whether I should get that decked and that. But it probably doesn't need it. Should be right, I suppose. And I'll leave that like that. I've just got to wait till I get the new gaskets, I suppose. There's one or two other things we'll order. But that could have possibly, I was thinking that could have possibly leaked there from over-fueling because it hasn't been firing this cylinder. It might just be getting a backup of fuel there. Either way, that had to be cleaned out. I should have done it before. It just did that. Of course, that didn't come in the kit. I bought an engine gasket kit. That didn't come in it, so I didn't change it. Anyway, I'll stack this up, pack this thing up, put a cover over it. I think we're getting a cover for this car soon, maybe today. And probably won't be working on this for a couple of weeks. I may make a video. Not really sure how much longer I'm going to be doing these videos, but I will film this car finished anyway. Thanks for that.